Hello everyone and welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. I just got everything ready to make a video for you and it's gone very grey and it's hailstoning, so hopefully that's passing by quickly and it's not going to make it too dark in here. Today I saw a card online on one of the Pinterest pages and it was a shape and a card that I haven't made before, and I thought, oh, I really like that, but of course there was no directions. So I've used my grid paper and drawn out the size of the card front, and then I was working out the size of all the other little pieces. And this grid paper is really good for that. It gives you a chance to play about and see what's going to work on a card front without actually cutting all the pieces. Now you can tell how many times I changed it by the Tipex, or what is it you call it over here, whiteout. And I'll cross bits out and I'll change sizes and things, but it really is a good tool for planning cards. So the card I've made, I'm going to use the Rooted in Nature set and the Painted Glass set. And I'm going to use these little trees. So the double tree and the single tree, and that's all I'm using from here. And I'm using the Thank You sentiment from Painted with Glass. And I am going to be using some of the paper from the Nature's Poem suite, which matches the Rooted in Nature. So the first thing I need is my base card, and I've cut that at 11 by 4 1/4, scored it at 5 1/2, and then where the dint is, that's where I folded it. And if you watch my videos often, you'll know that if I'm scoring and cutting a piece of card this way, it's going to be a horizontal card, and it's cut like that so that it doesn't splay very easily. So that's our base card in Whisper White, and I've used the thick Whisper White because I find the thin Whisper White is brilliant for stamping on and for layering, but it's just too fine for the base card. Okay, so there's the Whisper White cut at 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And then I've taken a piece of Tranquil Tide, and that's cut at 5 1/4 by 4, and you need two of these, one for the front and one for inside. So I'm going to pop those in now. Oops. I think that thunder and the hailstones are moving off now, so hopefully it should be a bit quieter here and the sun will come back out. You can still probably just hear the hailstones. Oh, starting again. Never mind. Good for the garden. And our grass is still quite green here, which is nice. So, okay, we'll pop this one inside. Now we are going to put a white piece on top of here, but I want to do some stamping on it first. So here we go. Here's our base card. And next you're going to need a piece of Whisper White, which is 1/2 inch by 3 3/4 inches, and another piece of Whisper White, which is 2 1/2 by 4. Oh, that's not that one. Beg your pardon. This is the 3 3/4 by 2 1/8 piece. And I'm going to use Tombow when I glue them to the front because I want to be able to just wiggle them round a little bit. And I've also cut a piece of DSP, the same as this white piece, so 2 1/4, let me check, no, 2 1/8 by 3 3/4. Okay, yeah, so these are both 2 1/8 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to put Tombow on the back. You don't need too much. Turn that piece of white card over. And going to need a little bit on this white strip as well. A little bit at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to put the little white piece on first. So let's move these over. And I'm just going to turn the card around while I try and attach them. And because it's Tombow, if it's not quite straight, it doesn't matter. It's very forgiving. Whereas if it was like the stronger glues or the tearing tape, it's very difficult to take something off again. Okay, I'm going to put that on at this end. And then I find it's easier to put the piece in the middle. You can just sort of line up the bottom and make the inside lines just however you want them. There we go. Let's just do that with the bone fold and make sure they're all attached. Okay, so that's our front all finished. The next thing we need is going to be the picture that's going on the front. And for that, you need a piece of Whisper White, which is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. And on it, I'd started stamping, but I didn't like quite how this one worked out. So I stamped another one. And this one, I didn't like the amount of trees. I liked having 5 trees, but I liked where the sentiment was. So the one that I'm going to share with you, I've only stamped the sentiment. And I've stamped the thank you sentiment from the painted glass. And then with my Tranquil Tide, I'm going to put the trees on. And I've chosen the double trees first. Just ink that up. And I'm going to stamp above where the thank you is. So there's once, and then I'm going to take it off and straight away I'm going to stamp again so that I've got a lighter set of trees. Then I'll just get my chamois. I am getting used to having all this dirt on the one side and all this ink, but it still bothers me. So it's still a bit cleaner on the back. There we go. Pop that one down. And then I'm going to take the single tree and I'm going to stamp that one down here. There we are. And while I've got this out, we've cut a piece of the white card for the inside at 5 by 3 3/4. And I think I might do actually the double tree. Like this, and then the single one I'm going to stamp off and put in the middle. There we go. Just wipe my stamps. It is brilliant, this chamois, because you don't get like pieces of lint or pieces of fluff or anything. It's just the colour of it that bothers me. Okay, we'll put that one on one side. So now let's move that one because that's not the one we're going to use. So now I've got my trees stamped and I've got the thank you, and I just want to add the colour like this. So I've got my sponge daubers out and I started with crumb cake. Let me find my scrap. So I've started with crumb cake. Not that one, that one. Just taken a little bit off. And then very lightly I've put this ground in. You do need to wait a little while just for the black stamping to dry. And I know our inks dry really quickly, but I just wanted to make sure that it didn't smudge when I was using it. I've done some darker patches, some lighter patches. I can always go back later and add some more if I want to. But now I just need the soft suede, which is a tiny bit darker. And I want to add some little shadows and things in. And I want to make sure that I've got ink on the edge of the card as well, just because I like the look of that. Now I'm just going to go back to that crumb cake sponge, sort of little circles just to rub it in a bit. So we don't need that one anymore. What we do need next is just a little bit of old olive. And I've used that just to lighten up the area under the trees a little bit in places so that it looks a little bit more like the forest floor. We don't want it all to be brown. There we go. There. Okay, and that's all we need with that. And then the last little bit of sponging is going to be for the sky, and I'm using the Balmy Blue. It's not tough to open, it's just that my thumb's a little bit sore today. I trapped it in a door, and so that's why I went, ooh, not because I couldn't open it, just because my thumb's a bit sore. Okay, so I'm taking just about all of the ink off. I don't want it to blend in too much with the trees. And here, I felt that I'd done it a little bit dark. So I just want to make it a little bit lighter this time. And I'm just going round and round, making sure that I've got the edge of the card covered as well. There. There, that's perfect. A bit lighter, I like that better. Close this ink up. Okay, so now for going with this card, we need a little piece of white, and the white is 4 by 2.5, and we're going to put that onto the white like this. Let's put some Tombow on here. You could use Fast Fused if you still have any left, or you could use the snail, whatever works. There we go. And then I've cut a piece of Tranquil Tide, and I've cut this at 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, not 3 3/4 like I've written here. So 2 3/4. Then a little bit of glue on the back here. Pop that on there, just to bring out the colour. I think it just helps to bring out the colour of those trees. And then I'm going to pop it on here. Now, I do like it like this, but because I've chosen the same colour as the backing, I felt like that just got a little bit lost. So I'm actually going to move it just to the left a little bit, not have it centred. You could put it on dimensionals, so you have it raised up. You could glue it straight down. I'm actually going to put it on dimensionals, she says, not being able to see where she's put them. So no, I don't see where I've hidden them at all. So I think I'll glue mine down. Oh, now I see them. They're at the other side of the table. Never mind, too late. So here we go. I'm going to put this offset, and just where it sort of pleases your eye. And then just a little bit of sticky there. There we go. Oh. No, that's not coming off. Let's find the sand eraser. I wonder if that was maybe on my finger or something. There we go. And then on the inside, now that that piece is dry, I'm going to pop this one that we stamped the trees on. And while I just have a little bit of ink left on some of my sponge daubers, just gonna go, oops, let's not stick it to that paper, Diane. Just going to go over there. There we go. Pop it in the middle. Here comes the rain again. Oh, there, that's better. Yeah, I like that colour. Just sort of carries the theme through from the front. So there we are. I'm not quite sure what you call this layout to the card, except very pretty, but I hope you'll give it a try. I will put the proper dimensions onto my blog. And while I've just been making that, I was thinking it might be quite nice that way too. If this was just down a little bit lower, I think that would be pretty. So thank you for watching me, and I hope to see you all again soon when the hailstones have stopped. Bye.